Your thoughts aren't your own. Every belief you cling to, every decision you make, might not have been yours to begin with. From the moment you took your first breath, you entered their game. A game where your mind isn't your own, where your very consciousness is being shaped by forces so powerful, they've been perfecting their methods for generations. And here's the chilling truth. Your subconscious mind isn't just influenced. It's owned, programmed, controlled. But what if I told you that the reality you're living in, the goals you're chasing, the fears you're avoiding, is nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion, not by you, but by powerful systems working behind the scenes? Governments, corporations, and media have mastered the art of subconscious programming, embedding ideas, limits, and desires into your mind without you even realizing it. And you couldn't help it. You were just a child to begin with. And honestly, this video might not stay up for long. The information you're about to learn is something they have spent generations keeping hidden. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you understand how it works, you can finally break free. Some of what I'm about to share might sound impossible at first, but stick with me, because I'll show you the scientific evidence behind every claim. You'll see exactly how this system works, why it was created, and most importantly, how to reclaim control of your own mind. Think of this as your red pill moment, a chance to see behind the curtain of your own consciousness. But remember, knowledge this powerful comes with a choice. You can close this video now and go back to living in their programmed reality. Or you can stay with me for the next few minutes and discover just how deep this rabbit hole goes. See, the subconscious controls 95% of your thoughts and decisions. It doesn't question, doesn't analyze. It just absorbs like a sponge. It's the part of your brain that keeps you scrolling through your phone at 2 a.m., buying things you don't need, and believing ideas you've never questioned. And here's the chilling part. The governments, corporations, media know this, and they've mastered the art of controlling it. And it's not just your big decisions, where you work, what you vote for, who you trust. It's in the micro moments, the notifications you check, the headlines you skim, the ads you glance at for half a second. These tiny fragments of control accumulate day by day like drops of water carving stone, until you're living someone else's vision of reality. But this isn't just influence, it's domination. Every time they steal a sliver of your valuable attention, they're rewriting the blueprint of who you are. You didn't choose this. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. You don't have to live this way anymore. Today you'll learn the tools to take back control, to see the strings, to wake up from their illusion. This is more than a wake-up call. It's your first step toward reclaiming your reality. Think back to your earliest memories. Before you could tie your shoes, before you could write your name, your mind was already being coded. But it wasn't just random programming. It was a script, passed down through generations, designed to keep you in a spiritual and mental prison. Think about this. Why do they say children are like sponges? It's not just about learning. Between ages 0 and 7, your brain operates in theta wave dominance, the same state that makes it possible for hypnotists to rewrite memories or make people believe they're living in an entirely different time and place. It's a state where your subconscious doesn't just listen, it obeys. You weren't just learning, you were being programmed. Every fairy tale you heard, every cartoon you watched, every lullaby you sang, they weren't just stories, they were programming sequences. Stay within the lines. Don't question authority. Fear the unknown? These weren't just lessons, they were chains, wrapping around your subconscious mind, layer by layer. But here's where it gets darker. Those phrases weren't innocent. They were echoes of a larger system designed to keep you compliant. Governments, corporations, and the media knew that if they could control the way your parents thought, they could control you too, without ever meeting you. Think about it. Why do advertisements target children with sugary cereals and toys? It's not because kids have purchasing power, it's because their minds are the most impressionable. If they hook you young, you'll crave the products and ideals they sell for life. And it wasn't just ads. Think about it. How many times were you told, be realistic? Translated, stay small, don't aim too high, or don't talk back. Meaning obey authority even when it feels wrong. Just like follow the rules, meaning to conform, even if it kills your creativity. These aren't just family sayings. They're the building blocks of a system that thrives on obedience. Consider this. Research shows that by age 7, your core beliefs about money, success, and self-worth are already set. 7 years old. By then, the groundwork of your reality, the limits you think are unchangeable, was already laid down. Here's an even darker thought. Have you ever wondered why fairy tales teach fear and submission? Witches in forests, danger beyond the village, rewards for good behavior. They weren't just stories, they were early blueprints, hinting you to stay where it's safe, to trust the authority figure, and don't stray too far. The more you think about it, the more you'll realize that your childhood wasn't just learning, it was conditioning. And this conditioning doesn't fade. Your subconscious mind clings to these ideas like gospel. It's why as an adult you might find yourself hesitating to take risks, doubting your worth, or chasing goals that don't even feel like yours. It's why you feel stuck in a life that feels more like a script than a choice. But here's the truth. This isn't your fault. It never was. Your subconscious doesn't question. It simply absorbs. And from the moment you were born, it was flooded with rules, fears, and limits designed to keep you in line. See, Stanford research shows that 90% of your childhood beliefs stay with you for life, unless you actively rewrite them. And they, governments, corporations, media, know this. That's why they aim to shape your mind when you're young. Because if they can control your beliefs, they don't need to control your actions. You'll do it for them. But here's the glimmer of hope. While your subconscious may have been programmed, it isn't permanent. It can be rewritten. Now that you know how the programming started, let's talk about how it continues, every single day. Because what they did to you as a child wasn't the end. It was just the foundation. The real work happens now, in ways so subtle you almost never notice. So, imagine this. You're scrolling through your phone on a Monday evening after work. A headline flashes saying, "Breaking economic crisis looms." You immediately feel anxiety. But then an ad pops up to invest in gold to protect your future. In just seconds, your emotions were hijacked. Fear puts your brain in survival mode, making you more receptive to their suggestions. They create the fear and then sell you the solution. This isn't random. It's precision-engineered manipulation, and it happens thousands of times a day. Every app you use, every news article you skim, every notification you receive, they're all pieces of a puzzle designed to control your attention. And your attention isn't just a commodity. It's the leash that ties you to their system. But let's break this down. See, fear is their favorite tool, and headlines are their weapon of choice. Fear shuts down your critical thinking, putting your subconscious in charge, desperately searching for safety. That's when the narrative slips in, unnoticed, but effective. Then come the ads. Have you ever wondered why your feed seems to know what you're thinking about? Algorithms don't just predict your desires, they create them. They plant ideas in your mind so subtly that you believe they're your own, nudging you toward products, lifestyles, and beliefs without even realizing it. Even something as small as a notification isn't harmless. It's a psychological trigger tapping directly into your brain's reward system. Every time you tap it, you're reinforcing a habit, training your mind to seek their content, to stay plugged in. But here's the thing. They're not just after your attention. They're after your identity. You're not just buying a product, you're buying a version of yourself. A cooler you, a smarter you, a more successful you. But that idealized version is always out of reach, just far enough that you keep chasing, keep spending, keep conforming, and that's exactly how they want it. Here I've got some real-life examples. Have you ever noticed how streaming platforms seem to trap you for hours with autoplay? It's not about providing you entertainment. It's about making you passive, turning you into a consumer on autopilot. Think about this. A study revealed the average person spends nearly 5 hours a day consuming media, most of it mindlessly. That's over 76 days a year spent glued to a screen. You're not just watching content. You're being trained to never look away. Or take social media. It's not just a platform, it's a lab. Those endless scrolls aren't about keeping you entertained, they're about keeping you controlled. Why do you think you see ads for something right after you merely think about it? It's not magic. It's manipulation so seamless you don't even question it. Even education isn't safe. Ever wonder why we're taught to memorize dates and equations instead of questioning systems or developing independent thought? That's by design. It's about producing obedient workers, not critical thinkers. And if you've made it this far into the video, chances are you've already started to see through the cracks. Why else would they avoid teaching us how to challenge authority, question narratives, or unlock the full potential of our minds? Because an empowered mind is the one thing they fear most. It's about shaping obedient workers, workers who will clock in, clock out, and never ask why the system exists in the first place. Even the grading system plays its role. It doesn't reward creativity or independent thought. It rewards conformity. But the manipulation doesn't stop there. It's in the words themselves. Ever hear the government talk about collateral damage? That's a cold, clinical way of saying innocent people are dying. Or when companies announce restructuring efforts. That's code for massive layoffs designed to sound like progress instead of devastation. Even the news plays the game. They call something a riot instead of a protest to push a narrative before you've even had a chance to form your own opinion. Every word, every image, every sound is designed to control not just what you think, but how you think. Here's something even scarier. You're not just a target, you're a participant. Every time you're online, every click, share, or post reinforces their system. You're helping them shape the collective reality without even realizing it. You're being watched, analyzed, and manipulated every single day. Not by some distant big brother, but by the screens you check dozens of times a day. Your favorite social media app? It's not just keeping you entertained. It's building a digital map of your mind. Every like, every scroll, every pause, even for a second, feeds an algorithm that knows your patterns better than you know yourself. And it's not just guessing, it's learning. Here's where it gets terrifying. These systems don't just react to what you do, they predict what you'll do next. Feeling restless? They'll show you ads for vacations. Having a rough day? Here comes an ad for comfort food. And the more you interact, the more they mold your subconscious. But this isn't a new tactic. It's ancient, perfected over centuries. Question for you, watching right now. What does the emperor do when the people grow restless? Or when they begin to ask uncomfortable questions? Well, he sends them to the circus. The Roman emperors built grand colosseums, staging races and throwing Christians to the lions to keep the population busy. All to keep the people preoccupied with things that don't mean anything, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they are being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. And today we have our own variants of that, like football games, basketball tournaments, reality TV, and celebrity gossip. Recently, I heard on the radio about a contract to pay one athlete $200 million a year. Why? Not because their work is inherently worth that much, but because the circus needs to be spectacular. It needs to keep you hooked, distracted from the truth. These spectacles, whether they're Roman chariot races or modern Super Bowls, aren't just about entertainment. They're about control. They consume your attention so thoroughly that you no longer have the time or the clarity to question the system. And that's exactly what they want. When you're busy being entertained, you won't notice how the strings are being pulled. You won't notice how you're being manipulated. You won't notice the emperor sitting on his throne, profiting from your ignorance. But there's a way out. Awareness is your greatest weapon. The moment you see the game for what it truly is, you can begin to break free. The conditioning follows you into the workplace, into your routines, into your mindset. The factory of compliance is everywhere. Scarcity is the oldest trick in the book, and it's everywhere. There's not enough money, not enough time, not enough resources. But who benefits from you believing that? Spoiler, it's not you. When we think of cages, we imagine physical structures, bars, locks, walls. But the most effective cage is the one you can't see. The one built in your mind with beliefs, habits, and routines so ingrained, they feel like reality. Take this lie we've been sold, one that most people spend their entire lives believing. The lie that working 40 hours a week for 40 years, investing your money in the stock market and living below your means will somehow lead to a comfortable retirement. It's a trap, one designed to keep you stuck in mediocrity while the system thrives on your labor. And here's the harsh truth, that someday they promise you, it's an illusion. Let's break it down. You're told to sacrifice the best years of your life, your youth, your energy, your health, for a paycheck. You're encouraged to dump it into the market, cross your fingers, and hope it grows. But who benefits the most? They. The system. Not you. Who says your pension is guaranteed? Corporations can cut it without warning, governments can default, and entire economies can collapse overnight. The safety net you've been counting on might not even exist when you need it most. And what happens if inflation spirals out of control? The money you spent 40+ years working for might barely cover basic groceries, let alone the comfortable retirement you were promised. Everything you sacrificed could lose its value before you even have the chance to enjoy it. Then, there's your health. Stress from decades of working, long hours and constant pressure could leave you with a heart attack or a chronic illness before you even reach retirement. All that hard work, and you might not even get to spend the rewards. The truth is, the system isn't built to guarantee your freedom. It's built to keep you enslaved. And let's be real. What if you're one of the few who actually makes it to retirement? By then, you'll be too old and tired to enjoy the life you dreamed of. Travel, adventure, new experiences. They're not so fun when your knees hurt, your energy's gone, and your doctor says you can't eat salt. Doesn't that sound insane? The whole system is rigged to keep you running on a treadmill, chasing a carrot you'll never catch. The cage isn't just your job, your mortgage, or your debt. It's the belief that this is the only way to live, that by playing it safe and delaying gratification, you'll eventually win. But here's the truth. The game is rigged, and playing it guarantees you'll lose. They tell you to live below your means, pinch every penny, and invest for the long term. But here's the thing. Living below your means isn't freedom. It's fear disguised as wisdom. It's settling for scraps while the system keeps the feast. And why? Because the entire script is designed to keep you trapped in a cycle of labor and consumption. If you want freedom, you have to burn the script. Forget waiting for retirement. Forget living below your means as a strategy. Forget trusting a system that profits from keeping you broke and busy. True wealth isn't in your bank account. It's in your ability to wake up and choose how to spend your day. It's in the freedom to prioritize your health, nurture your relationships, and pursue what sets your soul on fire. We've been conditioned to believe that success is measured in dollars, but the deeper truth is this. Success is living in alignment with your highest self, free from the constraints of fear, scarcity, and limitation. And the most important fact? It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to become truly wealthy. It's time to flip the script. Stop playing their game. Stop trading your best years for an empty promise. Start asking, how can I create freedom now, not later? Because waiting for someday isn't just ridiculous, it's the biggest lie you've ever been told. Now we will get to why the system loves debt so much. See, debt isn't just a financial tool, it's a weapon. A tool of control wielded by a system designed to keep you in a cage. Think about it. From the moment you step into adulthood, the system offers you debt disguised as opportunity. You're 18, barely old enough to vote, and they hand you tens of thousands of dollars to pursue a degree. But they don't teach you how compound interest works. They don't mention how this debt will shape your career decisions, forcing you into jobs you don't love to pay for an education you might not even use. Then when you're finally able to buy a house, they loan you enough for a mortgage. Mortgage literally translates to death pledge. And that's exactly what it is. A decades-long commitment tying you to one location, one paycheck, and one system. Miss a payment, and the bank takes it all. And not only that, they offer you credit cards. They tell you it's about convenience, but it's really about dependence. They dangle cashback rewards and miles in front of you, but behind every purchase is the trap of interest rates that can quickly spiral out of control. But here's the brutal truth. The system doesn't just want you in debt, it needs you in debt. See, debt makes you obedient. You're less likely to take risks, less likely to speak out, and more likely to settle for a job you hate because you need that paycheck just to survive. And the spiritual truth? Debt isn't just about the money, it's also about energy. When you owe someone, they occupy space in your mind and soul. They take your focus, your creativity, and your peace. The system loves debt because debt keeps you small. It keeps your focus on survival, not growth. It makes you less likely to take risks, to follow your inner calling, to trust the path that might lead you to freedom. But what if you reclaimed that energy? What if you chose to live simply, not out of lack, but out of abundance? Abundance of clarity, of freedom, of space to grow into the person you were meant to be. Debt feeds the system. Simplicity and freedom starve it. And the moment you see this truth, you've taken the first step to breaking free. Take a look at the richest people in the world. They didn't get there by working harder than you. Meanwhile, the hardest working people who carry the most load in our society, like nurses, teachers, construction workers, barely scrape by. If hard work were the key, they'd all be millionaires. So why does the system push the hard work narrative? Because it keeps you enslaved to your 9 to 5. It keeps you in the hamster wheel, convinced that if you just work a little harder, you'll eventually make it. But the truth is, you're not climbing a ladder, you're just running in circles. And not only that, but the real wealth is time. Time is all we have. We all have 24 hours a day. See, every dollar you spend can be earned back. But every hour you spend, it's gone forever. How many people spend 40+ hours a week working jobs they hate, just to buy things they don't need, to impress people they don't even like? True wealth isn't in your bank account. It's in your ability to wake up and decide how you want to spend your day. It's in the freedom to prioritize your health, your relationships, and your passions. So here's my 2 cents. Stop trading your life for a paycheck to buy things you don't need. Start asking yourself, am I building a life that feels rich in spirit, in joy, in connection? Or am I just surviving? Because the truth is, you weren't born to pay bills and die. You were born to live, to explore, to create. The system wants you focused so you can pay taxes, but your soul longs for freedom. And to truly understand how deep ingrained this control goes, we need to talk about something even more fundamental: language itself. So have you ever wondered why they call it spelling? Why we cast words? Why we program speech? These aren't random terms. See, words are literally spells, and every time you speak, you're casting them. Think about this. The word advertisement comes from the Latin advertere, to turn towards. Every ad you see isn't just selling you something. It's turning your consciousness, redirecting your energy, spell by spell, word by word. And contracts, they're not just agreements. Look at the language. Contract, to be tracted into a con. Every time you click I agree on those terms and conditions you never read, you're entering into a binding spell. They know this. It's why legal language is so specific, so precise. Each word is a chain in the spell that binds you. But it goes deeper. The word government literally means to control the mind. Govern, to control. Ment, mind. They're telling you exactly what they're doing, hiding it in plain sight. And authority, the power to author reality. They're not just controlling you, they're writing your story. Everyday words hold hidden layers of meaning, acting as subtle tools of influence over your subconscious. Let's break down a few examples to reveal how deeply embedded this control is in our language. Take the word television, a combination of tele, meaning distant, and vision, meaning sight. At its core, television programs your vision from afar, dictating what you see, perceive, and often believe, all without you realizing the extent of its influence. Or consider program pro, meaning forward, and gram, meaning to write. Every program you watch or engage with is, in essence, writing your future, shaping your thoughts, and steering your actions towards specific narratives. The word news might seem innocent, but break it down, and it subtly symbolizes control over your understanding of the world. It stands for north, east, west, and south, implying the shaping of your perception in every direction. Mortgage is another example, deriving from the Latin mort, death, and gage, pledge. It's more than a financial agreement, it's a death pledge, a lifelong commitment that binds your energy and freedom to a system. Even pharmacy has a deeper root, stemming from the Greek pharmakia, which translates to sorcery. Historically, this term referred to the use of potions or spells. While modern medicine saves lives, the etymology reminds us of its power to influence the human body and mind profoundly. These aren't just words. They are embedded instructions, carrying vibrations and meanings that subtly shape how you think, feel, and interact with the world. Each word reinforces ideas, norms, and systems, designed to keep you aligned with a broader script, one you didn't write. Once you recognize this, it's impossible to ignore. The question then becomes, will you continue to let these words dictate your reality? Or will you reclaim their power and redefine their influence? The truth is, language itself is a system of influence, a kind of spell-casting framework. Every letter, syllable, and word carries a frequency, subtly shaping your perception of reality. When you use these words, often without thinking, you unknowingly participate in a linguistic system designed to guide your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. Consider the phrases we casually say every day. I'm under the weather. I'm going through something. I have to do this. I can't afford that. These expressions aren't just descriptions. They're declarations that reinforce limitation, struggle, and helplessness. Saying you're under the weather implies you're being dominated by external forces. Going through something subtly frames life as an unending series of challenges. I have to do this removes your agency, making you a passive participant in your own life. And I can't afford that cements scarcity as your default mindset. Every time you speak such phrases, you unconsciously reinforce these ideas, embedding them deeper into your subconscious. But here's the empowering truth. Just as language can trap you, it can also set you free. By shifting the words you use, you begin to rewrite your mental programming, breaking free from the invisible chains these phrases create. Language isn't just communication, it's creation. When you choose your words with intention, you take the first step toward reclaiming your power and designing the reality you truly desire. Each phrase is a spell of limitation, a chain you place on yourself, and you repeat them day after day, binding yourself tighter with each utterance. But here's where it gets even more sinister. Legal documents, contracts, and terms of service aren't just agreements. They're modern-day spellbooks, written in all caps, because capital letters hold a different frequency, using specific phrases that bind you to their system. When you sign your name, you're not just providing identification, you're offering your energy, your consent, your power to their magical system. It's why they need your signature, your explicit agreement. The spell doesn't work without your participation, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every word becomes a choice. Every phrase is an opportunity to either strengthen their spell or break free from it. And here's the key. Just as language can be used to create prison walls, it can also be used to break them down. The same power they use to control reality is available to you if you know how to use it. Instead of saying, "I have to," say, "I choose to." Instead of, "I can't afford it," ask, "How can I create this?" Instead of, "I'm trying," say, "I am doing." Each word shift breaks another chain, creating another crack in their control system. But to fully break free from their linguistic prison, you need to understand how these words interact with the frequencies they're broadcasting through their technology. In the next section, we'll explore the frequency war they're waging against your consciousness, and how to shield yourself from their attacks. And if language is their spellbook, frequencies are their wand. And right now, you're being bombarded by frequencies designed to keep you in a state of confused compliance. In 1939, a decision was made to standardize music tuning to 440 Hz, replacing the natural harmony of 432 Hz. Why does this matter? Because 432 Hz resonates with the natural frequencies of the Earth, aligning with the human body, DNA, and even the water within us. This frequency creates beautiful geometric patterns in cymatic experiments, suggesting harmony, balance, and peace. But at 440 Hz, those patterns distort. Stress hormones rise, clarity diminishes, and your body subtly contracts. This wasn't just a random decision. Detuning reality itself was an intentional move, one that subtly disorients you, keeping you out of sync with nature and yourself. And music is just the beginning. Every electronic device in your home is emitting frequencies designed to keep you in a specific state. Wi-Fi routers broadcasting at frequencies that disrupt sleep patterns. Smart meters pulsing at rates that increase anxiety. Cell phones emit radiation that fragments concentration. Television broadcasts encoded with frequencies that induce alpha state trance. Think about your daily routine. You wake up to a loud synthetic buzz of your alarm clock. You scroll through your phone with its bright screen and constant notifications. Throughout the day, you're surrounded by electronic hums, Wi-Fi routers, smart devices, fluorescent lighting, car electronics. Each of these emits artificial frequencies that clash with your body's natural rhythm. These frequencies are not neutral. They disrupt your brain waves, suppressing creativity and focus while inducing fatigue and anxiety. They're part of what some call the frequency fence. an energetic barrier that keeps your consciousness confined to a narrow, artificial band of reality. Contrast this with the Schumann resonance, the Earth's natural frequency of 7.83 Hz. This is the vibration of nature, the rhythm your brain produces in states of deep meditation and creativity. When you align with this frequency, whether by walking barefoot on the ground, spending time in nature, or listening to specific soundscapes, you reconnect with a state of harmony that modern life tries so hard to disrupt. This is why they work so hard to keep you disconnected from nature. Think about it. Cities are built with minimal green spaces. Your schedule keeps you indoors, and every moment of stillness is interrupted by a ping, a notification, a scream. It's not accidental. It's a system designed to prevent you from turning back into the frequency that empowers you. But here's what they don't want you to know. Your natural frequency is stronger than their artificial ones. The human consciousness, when aligned with natural frequencies, can override even the most aggressive disruptions. This is why practices like meditation, energy healing, and even sound baths are mocked by mainstream culture. They are tools that can dismantle the artificial grid of control. When you take steps to align yourself with the Earth's frequency, something remarkable happens. Your stress levels decrease. Your focus sharpens. You begin to feel a sense of peace and clarity that is hard to disrupt. Practical steps to align with natural frequencies. Immerse yourself in nature. Spend time outdoors, preferably in areas with minimal electronic interference. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Listen to the sounds of birds and wind, and breathe in the rhythm of the earth. Use healing frequencies. Incorporate 432 Hz music into your daily life. It's widely available online and can be played in the background during meditation, work, or relaxation. Practice grounding techniques. Go barefoot on natural surfaces like grass or sand to absorb the Earth's electrons, rebalancing your body's energy field. Visualization. Repeating a phrase isn't magic, it's rewiring neural pathways. Combine this with visualization, and you're programming your subconscious to align with your goals. Every time you use words with intention, you're not just speaking, you're shaping reality. This isn't a motivational idea, it's quantum physics. Language collapses potential realities into existence. The truth is, they fear your ability to tune into your natural frequency. Why? Because when you're aligned with your authentic self, your innate rhythm, their systems lose power over you. Their fear-driven narratives crumble. Their artificial disruptions, like ads, manipulative algorithms, and subtle propaganda, can no longer penetrate your energy field. You become unshakable, untouchable, and fully awake. This is why reclaiming your frequency is one of the most powerful steps you can take to regain control over your subconscious and your reality. But here's the problem. You're being watched, analyzed, and manipulated every single day. Not by some far-off big brother, but by the screens you check dozens of times a day. Your favorite social media app? It's not just keeping you entertained, it's building a digital map of your mind. Every like, every scroll, every pause, even for a second, feeds an algorithm that knows your patterns better than you know yourself. And it's not just guessing, it's learning. The truth is, they fear your ability to tune into your natural frequency. Why? Because when you're aligned with your authentic self, your innate rhythm, their systems lose power over you. Their fear-driven narratives crumble. Their artificial disruptions, like ads, manipulative algorithms, and subtle propaganda, can no longer penetrate your energy field. You become unshakable, untouchable, and fully awake. This is why reclaiming your frequency is one of the most powerful steps you can take to regain control over your subconscious and your reality. Here's where it gets terrifying. These systems don't just react to what you do, they predict what you'll do next. Feeling restless? They'll push ads for vacations, knowing you'll click. Having a rough day? Here comes a perfectly timed ad for comfort food. Every interaction deepens their understanding of you, and the more you engage, the more they mold your subconscious into a shape that serves them. But it doesn't stop at apps. Think about your loyalty cards. Every time you use one, it's not just about discounts, it's about data. Retailers track every purchase, building a profile of your habits, preferences, and vulnerabilities. In one case, a man who frequently purchased alcohol started receiving targeted ads for rehab services before he even realized he had a problem. And it's not just retailers. Dynamic pricing manipulates your subconscious perception of value. Ever searched for a flight, only to find the price skyrocketing the next time you check? That's not a coincidence. These algorithms know when you're desperate, raising prices to exploit your need for urgency. You're not making a choice, they're scripting it for you. You are living in a world designed to control you. This isn't just about ads, it's about control. When was the last time you checked the news? Did you notice how every headline feels urgent? How it always seems like the world is on the edge of collapse? That's not by accident. Media outlets thrive on fear. Fear keeps you glued to the screen. Fear makes you click. And every time you click, your subconscious absorbs more of their script. The world is dangerous. You're powerless. You need us to guide you. But it's not just fear, it's influence. Subtle nudges that change the way you see the world without you even realizing it. Over time, these tiny manipulations stack up until your beliefs, your decisions, your very sense of self aren't really yours anymore. So what's the solution? It's breaking the illusion of self-improvement. See, self-improvement isn't about becoming better. The idea they feed that you need to fix yourself is the greatest illusion of all. We're sold a lie. That by following endless to-do lists and measuring ourselves against others, we'll finally be good enough. But true self-improvement isn't about fixing who you are. It's about understanding who you are. When you deeply look within, everything changes. You stop chasing perfection and start realizing your inherent power. Self-understanding is the key that unlocks your ability to create, to transform, and to manifest your deepest desires. The truth is, you're not a problem to solve. You're a limitless soul. Your self-concept is not fixed yet measurable. You are not who you were yesterday, and you are not bound by who you've been taught to be. This is the ultimate secret. You can choose who you want to be. You can design your entire identity, your reality, and your future. Self-improvement is not about conforming to a standard. It's about self-creation. Through self-creating, you gain the power to see beyond your fears, doubts, and conditioning. You start creating from a place of clarity and alignment, shaping your life from the inside out. Every day is a chance to step into the version of you that aligns with your highest vision. So you don't need to fix yourself. You need to know yourself. When you know who you are, you can create anything. If you stuck with me so far, it means that you've just taken your first step toward true consciousness, toward seeing the invisible chains that have been holding you back. But this is just the beginning. There's so much more to uncover. So many more layers to this system of control that most people will never see. So if you've made it to the end, you're starting to see it. The invisible prison they built in your mind. Type, "Now I see" in the comments if you're ready to break free. Let's find out how many of us are awakening to the truth. In my next video, I'm going to reveal something even more shocking. How they are using sound frequencies to keep you in a permanent state of spiritual sleep. I'll show you the exact frequency they're broadcasting through your devices right now, and more importantly, how to shield yourself from it. And if this video resonated with you, if you felt that spark of recognition in your soul while watching, share it. Not with everyone. We both know not everyone is ready for this level of truth. Share it with someone who's been asking questions, someone who's felt that something isn't quite right with the world. They'll thank you for it. Remember, knowing about the system is the first step to breaking free from it. You've just begun to see the strings. In the next video, you'll learn how to cut them.